Welcome to UFCU's 85th annual meeting. I'm Mike Harris, Managing Partner of Harris, Quasant and Company, PLLC, and I'm also Chair of the Board of Directors of University Federal Credit Union. I hereby call this meeting to order. Due to continuing pandemic conditions, this annual meeting will be conducted virtually via Zoom and is being recorded for later posting to ufcu.org and social media. Also available at ufcu.org are UFCU's 2020 annual report, the minutes of our last year's meeting 2020, and an overview of volunteer leaders whose election to UFCU's Board of Directors is confirmed through this event. At the end of this meeting, members will be afforded an opportunity to ask questions via the Zoom question and answer feature. Additionally, beginning tomorrow, a form will be accessible at ufcu.org to submit questions to which I or UFCU CEO Tony Boudet will promptly respond. UFCU bylaws specify that 15 members present constitute a quorum for this meeting. Therefore, I declare a quorum is present. I'm proud and I'm grateful that UFCU has a board of directors and supervisory committee comprised of exceptional leaders from both academic and business communities that we serve. I'd like to introduce them to you now. Our board members include Vice Chair C. Cale McDowell, Partner Jackson Walker LP Attorneys, Secretary Laura J. Kilcrease, CEO Alberta Innovates Corporation, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Treasurer Leslie L. Blank, PhD, Adjunct Professor, Mundy School of Business, St. Edward's University, Linus N. Acano Jr., Senior Manager, Strategic and Reputation Risk, Deloitte Risk and Financial Advisory, Thomas J. Artis, MBA, President, SumoWeb, an Internet Domain Registrar, Catherine Hoyt, Senior Director of Financial Planning and Analysis, CareCentrix, Molly Beth Malcolm, EDD, LPC, Executive Vice President, Campus Operations and Public Affairs, Austin Community College, John A. Martin, Vice President, Houston Division, Austin Commercial, LP, Tomas Miranda, Founder and CEO, Sparkovation Advisors, David W. Niesel, Retired Vice President and Dean, Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, University of Texas Medical Branch, Galveston, Director Emeritus, Carl E. Hansen, PhD, Retired Owner, Vocational Appraisal and Planning, Director Emeritus, Cynthia A. Leach, Retired Texas Workforce Commission, Director Emeritus Mary A. Singh, Retired Assistant Director, Facilities and Support Services, University of Texas Libraries. Our supervisory committee members include Chairman Brady M. Cole, Retired Rear Admiral, United States Navy. Secretary is Christine A. Plonsky, Women's Athletics Director and Senior Associate Athletics Director, External Services, University of Texas, Austin. Steve Darnell, Chief Financial Officer, Builder Homesite, Inc. Dina Jansen, Founder and CEO of Dina Speaks. Ellen E. Wood, President and CEO, VCFO. I'm deeply grateful for these fine leaders who serve UFCU alongside me. I'd like to take this opportunity to present my chair's report, and I'll be followed by the report of the treasurer, the report of the supervisory committee chair, and the report of the president and CEO. Summaries of this information are included in the 2020 annual report. Well, once again, I'm Michael Harris, and I'm a volunteer serving University Federal Credit Union and our members. Today, I'm concluding my term as chair of the board of directors. I feel very honored, I feel very privileged to have had the opportunity to take part in our cooperative. An old curse of uncertain origin says, may you live in interesting times. Certainly last year was too interesting. Our members faced many serious challenges and financial stress was extreme. However, the commitment of University Federal Credit Union never wavered as our cooperative went to great lengths to support our members in compassionate and creative ways. In turn, members supported the credit union, placing funds where funds would be safe, and our cooperative grew, becoming even more strong. University Federal Credit Union was founded in 1936, another time of extreme financial stress. 30 colleagues pooled $836 to help their community meet dire hardships. From the original 30 members, our cooperative has grown to over 330,000 members. But the purpose of University Federal Credit Union remains unchanged. Our purpose is to support our members. Sometimes, as you give, so shall you receive. This principle is shown to be true in our performance in 2020, which was extraordinary by any metric. To help our members through the financial impacts of COVID-19, we expanded drive-through services, extended member services hours to make access by members easier. We broadened online and telephone account access. We provided member relief loans and Paycheck Protection Program loans. We suspended fees, and we provided options to skip loan payments and to secure more credit. In return, through the efforts of our cooperative team and our members, we again were named the #1 credit union in Central Texas, and we outperformed all other mortgage companies in our region. Thank you. And thank you for your membership, your trust and support, and your attendance at this meeting. I hope 2021 will be much less interesting for us all. I now turn the meeting over to Dr. Leslie Blank, our treasurer.
Good evening. When we met last spring, I reported that UFCU was uniquely and strongly positioned to meet the uncertainties and the challenges of the unprecedented times we found ourselves in 2020. Today, I'm happy to report that your credit union met those challenges. Chairman Harris just listed examples of how UFCU listened to its members and worked to provide the resources and services you depend on, despite all the changes that the pandemic has required. And this year, once again, I can confirm that UFCU is financially strong and well-positioned to deliver the financial products and services our 328,000 members have come to expect of the #1 credit union in Austin. UFCU funded $2.6 billion in loans in 2020, boosting total loans outstanding by 8% over the year before. This enabled members to purchase over 21,000 vehicles and over 3,400 homes, which, as Mike just said, made UFCU once again the top mortgage lender in Central Texas last year. Deposits grew 26% and total assets grew 25% to $3.34 billion. Member equity, or net worth, increased 12% in 2020 to $269 million. Net worth is the primary measure of a credit union's financial strength. It provides a reserve against unforeseen or unusual losses and may be used to invest in efforts that further serve the needs of the membership. As a percentage of total assets, UFCU's net worth ended the year at 8.58%. In addition, members have entrusted $596 million to UFCU's wealth management program. Combined with $3 billion in loans serviced, total assets under management and serviced have grown to just under $7 billion. As a result of revenue and gain from sale of investments, UFCU generated a return on average assets of 0.94% in 2020. A positive ROA shows that credit union earnings more than covered its operating and loan-related expenses. It is the job of the Asset Liability Management and Budget Committee to provide oversight of UFCU's financial performance, policies, and objectives. And it has been an honor to serve with the other volunteer members of this committee. On behalf of ALCO and the Board of Directors, thank you for trusting UFCU to be your financial partner. I would now like to introduce Brady Cole, Chairman of the Supervisory Committee.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm going to limit my remarks tonight to 3 major points. First, during 2020, the committee's been monitoring the activities of management, our external auditors, Moss Adams, and our internal auditors, Assurance Services. We've also reviewed NCUA's comments and observation regarding UFCU's operations. Second, I'm pleased to report that Moss Adams' 2020 audit determined that UFCU's financial records present fairly in all material respects the financial position of UFCU in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Members can access this report upon request. Third, based on the input from the foregoing groups, the committee is comfortable that your credit union is currently safe and sound, and it is adequately supporting its members. Finally, I want to thank the board and management for their support of the committee. I now turn the meeting over to Tony Hudak.
Thank you, Admiral, and thank you to all of you joining us for this, the 85th annual meeting in the life of our cooperative. I've been here for 36 of those, and I always enjoy these meetings because it's a great opportunity to tell the story of your cooperative and what it's doing in the life of its members and the broader communities that we enjoy, that we live in, and it's just a pleasure to tell this story. The printed version of this is in your materials in the annual report, and I'm not going to go through that. It's there for your reading at your pleasure, but there are some things that I'd like to touch on today in my comments. Obviously, 2020 was a very difficult and exhausting year, quite frankly. Some of us lost loved ones. Some of us became very ill during the course of the year. Some members, many members, lost their jobs. All of us were inconvenienced, and we lost the ability, and we still have the inability to give each other warm hugs and handshakes and just live life the way that we enjoy living. But COVID did not diminish the superhero powers of my staff, 800 men and women who in 2020 excelled like never before. As Mike mentioned earlier, we were built for this. This cooperative began in 1936 in very similar circumstances, not a good time financially. And I encouraged our staff early on in this to do 2 things that they just responded to beautifully. And the first was to do the right thing. And so you might ask, what is the right thing? And by UFCU's standards, the culture, the value that we have, the right thing has to do with people. It's putting people and relationships at the forefront of all of our decision making during the course of the year. And our staff here responded beautifully to that. The second thing I asked them to do was to do the right thing. And the right thing is impacting those people. And the impact that they had on helping our members, helping each other, families here travel through this pandemic has just been extraordinary. And so for those of you on the staff who are watching this event, thank you. I cannot express enough gratitude for the way that you supported each other as you supported our members through this. I'm deeply grateful, as are our members. Mike mentioned earlier that a lot of things were employed as tools this year to help our members through this. They continue to be employed because we're not finished yet. But skip-up payments, forbearances on loan payments, we employed quite a few of those to help members going through very, very tough times. Emergency loans, in many cases, looking at credit cards and increasing limits there to enable members to get some things done that were critical to them. Expanding the digital channels available to members to reach us, to do business with us, waiving fees, reconfiguring branch services. In fact, I'm so proud of our branch staff because while many of us worked from home for most of this past year, staff throughout our branch network was front and center the entire time. They continue to be that way today. And many times for our senior leaders, it was like playing chess. Is unfortunately some of our staff members found themselves with COVID. We would have to close facilities, clean them, and then bring different teams in at different times to keep these facilities open and serving members. And so for those of you on the retail side of the business who just did extraordinary work there, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. You came through for our members. You came through for each other. For me, I'm just deeply grateful. We produced, despite all this, the best performance in our 84-year history. We're recognized as a Forbes top 5 Texas credit union. We're the top large philanthropic organization here in Central Texas. As others mentioned, the Austin American-Statesman does an annual poll, just an informal poll. And again, we were the #1 bank, they call us. You and I know better. And also the #1 mortgage company here in the city. Gallup, an organization that we use to measure a variety of things, but primarily the level of engagement of our staff here, has an award that they extend organizations globally that excel at generating staff engagement. There's only 39 such organizations on the globe that this past year earned that distinction, and UFCU is one of them, and I'm deeply proud of that. Employee engagement is important because it benefits you, our members. As you interface with our staff, the quality of that interaction that you have with them is important to me. I know it's important to you, and our staff does an extraordinary job there. We continue to grow 25% in 2020, as Leslie said, to about $3.3 billion in balance sheet assets. Off balance sheet assets actually total considerably more than that. And 2020 financial performance, exceptional. Reserves are strong. We continue well positioned to serve our members and the broader community well into the future. So I'm proud we'll celebrate this 85th birthday this coming month. In fact, I keep a ledger in my office, paper yellow ledger that actually has the names of the 30 members on the UT campus who in 1936 began this cooperative. I keep that there to remind me of what they had in mind, of where we came from. The place today obviously is much bigger than it was back then. It's certainly more complex than it was back then. But my job and the job of the senior leaders here is to make sure that inside the way that we operate with the same values, the same focus on our members as a cooperative. We champion that. We're so proud of our cooperative heritage and the way that we try to uphold that in everything that we do. And I hope you feel that on the member side. Interestingly, back then, when they began this cooperative, financially, things were pretty similar maybe to what they are today, somewhat stressed financially here in the US. And UFCU responded then as we have today, offering members a variety of financial relief options. And, while we may look like a bank, perhaps as you drive by on Mopac and you look at our facility, I want you to know that on the inside, we're not operating as a bank. This is very much a cooperative. And despite our scale and complexity of what goes on here, we honor our founders by keeping those values alive. We also are keenly focused on executing our vision, which is a financially healthy community. That's what we envision. And with the scale of the organization today, I think we have what it takes in the way of resources and talent to actually achieve that given time. And certainly our volunteer leadership is intent on doing that, as are our leaders here in the company. And our mission is to advance opportunities for quality education, employment, and housing. Those are three components of actually being financially healthy. Obviously, when we're financially healthy, life can be reasonably good. But when we're struggling financially, life can be terribly difficult. And so we're pouring resources into those three sectors here in the community, partnering with a wide array of companies that have been in those sectors for many, many years and know what they're doing. And as we come alongside and partner with them, we're hoping that we can advance what they're doing, their missions further, and achieve that level of financial health that we're looking at together. So our vision is about community, but our mission is about our members, and those are not exclusive of one another. They go hand in hand. This outward focus, our passion for using the power of a not-for-profit cooperative for community transformation, reflects our view that rather than simply serving shareholders, we actually serve many stakeholders, including most certainly members, but also universities, over 300 private employers and associational groups, and of course our employees, without whom all of this is not possible. UFCU is closely partnering with universities and colleges we serve, with influential community organizations, as well as with several key member groups such as Goodwill and Ascension Seton, to play a substantive role in boosting financial health and prosperity for their faculties, their staffs, their students now and in years ahead. And our success, as always, is driven historically by an exceptional business climate that we enjoy here in Austin, even in these tough times, relative to other parts of the country and even the world. Austin really is fortunate to be in the position that it's in. We also have what I consider the best field of membership, higher education, that any credit union could have. We also have a unique vision, mission, values for this organization, an exceptional staff that we have, a great board and supervisory committee volunteer leaders. You're seeing some of them today, and an exceptionally strong executive leadership team that I'm so proud of, that I partner with every day to provide the results that you enjoy as members of the cooperative. So thank you for tuning in. I very much value your membership and your business. And if I can ever be personally of service to you, please never hesitate to give me a call or send me a note. I'd be delighted to help you any way that I possibly can. Thank you, Mike. I'm going to turn it back over to you for election of officers.
Thank you, Tony. At this annual meeting, full 3-year terms expire for directors Laura J. Kilcrease, Molly Beth Malcolm, and John A. Martin. Additionally, Tomas Miranda, appointed by the board in 2020 to fill a vacated seat with a term to expire in 2022, is presented to members for formal election at this meeting. All candidates made themselves available to serve additional terms. As chair, I appointed a nominating committee in compliance with credit union's bylaws. The bylaws also permit additional nominations by petition in advance of this meeting. No such nominations were received. Molly Beth Malcolm served as the chair of the nominating committee, which also included directors Thomas J. Artis, Catherine Hoyt, Carl E. Hansen, and Laura J. Kilcrease. After review and deliberation, the committee renominated the following members for 3-year terms to expire in 2024. The members are Laura J. Kilcrease, Molly Beth Malcolm, and John A. Martin. The following member, Tomas Miranda, was renominated to complete a 3-year term to expire in 2022. In compliance with credit union bylaws, I declare all 4 candidates re-elected to the board of directors. As I mentioned earlier, members will now be afforded an opportunity to ask questions via the Zoom question and answer feature. Additionally, beginning tomorrow, a form will be available at ufcu.org to submit questions to which I or UFCU CEO Tony Boudet will promptly respond. As you forward questions through the Zoom Q&A feature, please clearly state your first and last name to permit confirmation of your membership and to facilitate our responses. I now open the meeting to questions.
I've got a question from a member. Julia, it's good to see that you're attending the meeting with us today. Thank you so much for making time to join us. What I'd like to do is personally get back to you immediately after this meeting with an answer to your question. Thank you. All right, we have a question. This is anonymous. After reading the diversity and inclusive and proud statement that was approved by the board of directors, when will the board take steps to address the historic, systemic, and institutional racism towards Black people and Black communities by doing business with Black-owned businesses, accounting firms, law firms, other vendors? In addition, the CEO should be instructed to report yearly to the board the amount of business that is being done with Black-owned businesses in the Austin metropolitan area, as well as outside of that area. Thank you. I'm not sure who posted that. Thank you for that observation. We do have a DEI plan and commitment that has 12 different components to it. That is not one of them. But what I can do is go back to our team and present that to them. And I don't see any reason why something like that can't be incorporated into the plan going forward. So thank you for offering that as an observation and a recommendation to us. I appreciate that. What I'll do is just let everyone else who may have questions later to please post those. And the recording of this meeting will be posted to ufcu.org. I will also see any Q&A activity that occurs after this event, and I commit to you that I will promptly respond to that. I'll get back to you. I think that's all we have for this evening. But thank you again. Mike, I will turn this back over to you for your closing comments.
Thank you, Tony. And thank everyone for accommodating this unique meeting format during these extraordinary times. Despite the rather impersonal medium through which we've delivered this information, please know that all of us here at your credit union, volunteer leaders and staff alike, very much value your membership and business. We are honored you trust us with your financial affairs. I now will declare this meeting adjourned.